Gallaudet calls for an expanded UFO investigation. We've got that to discuss and a whole lot more, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, let's just get right to it. From Liberation Times, April 10th, retired Rear Admiral and former agency chief calls for expanded UFO investigation and greater White House involvement. Okay, I'm down with that. From Christopher Sharp, in an interview with Liberation Times, retired Rear Admiral and former acting administrator of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, Tim Gallaudet, underscored the potential threat of U.A.P. to submariners. He also called for greater involvement and action from the White House's National Security Council in directing the DoD and intelligence community to provide greater transparency on the topic. Wouldn't that be nice? Do you think we'll get greater transparency? Yeah, I mean, it couldn't get much worse, right? Following the publication of his recent white paper that was with the Sol Foundation, addressing the undersea aspect of U.A.P. for the Sol Foundation, Gallaudet conveyed his eagerness to participate in a U.S. government-led investigation into U.A.P. occurring beneath the ocean, framed by his informed belief that some of the phenomena may represent a form of higher non-human intelligence. He told Liberation Times, "I want to look in the oceans for U.A.P. and evidence of higher non-human intelligence because I know the area really well. I know all the collection systems out there in the universities and government agencies that do ocean exploration and research. I want to pursue the study of U.A.P. in the oceans to add to the overall body of knowledge. Why just limit ourselves to looking up when we know if we look below, we'll find that evidence too?" Absolutely, 100%. There's so much activity coming and going from our oceans. It's hard to say if they're living on the, undersea floor or, just tooling around the oceans, or if they're coming and going from, vast, subterranean cities below the ocean floor. I've heard, some experiencers say, and psychics and remote viewers, that there are, different alien civilizations or NHI civilizations that live in different places. One race prefers living under the oceans. One race prefers living under the mountains or in the mountains. One race prefers living under the deserts. There's that idea that's out there. But, I don't know. I haven't been to those undersea or underground civilizations. I'm not entirely sure I want to unless those aliens are cool. But if they are, I'm definitely down. But yeah, there you go. So will we actually get an expanded UFO investigation and greater White House involvement? Well, the White House has stepped up a little bit, signing the Schumer Rounds Amendment into law, such as it is. But at the same time, we know President Joe Biden did authorize the shootdown of a UFO. This is from the reporting by Ross Coulthart, a genuine anomalous object, not a balloon. And he didn't tell us about it, did he? No president ever has told us anything. So we'll see. We'll see if that changes. Meanwhile, check this out. This is really cool. From Ronnie Vernon, the UFO that attacked dozens of people in Colares and many other cities in the Brazilian Amazon during the 1977 UFO wave. This vehicle contained two human-like beings that, according to Dr. Waleed Sissom, had brown skin and blonde hair. Yeah, so after the Colares incidents happened and were investigated by the military, some of those military files were declassified. And this must have come from those declassified files. And I've never seen this before. So, this is a depiction of one of the craft involved in the very disturbing 1977 series of incidents in Colares. Yeah, people were being attacked by UFOs. They were being stricken. They seemed to be sucking their blood or something. They were coming down with anemia. There were some deaths. It was a bad scene, guys. It was a bad scene. Something sinister was going down in Colares. And the beings, or some of the beings behind that, were in a UFO like this thing. Isn't that a weird looking UFO? That is crazy. And they were humanoid with brown skin and blonde hair. Does that mean they were human? Could we be looking at some sort of time traveler or something like that? Or are we looking at some form of humanoid alien like the Nordics? What are we looking at here? What are we looking at here, guys? If you have any thoughts, let me know. But I thought that was super fascinating. It's a very troubling case, the Colares case, and definitely deserves further scrutiny. And if we could come to grips with it, that'd be super helpful. Obviously, it's important to know what elements of the phenomenon are negative and hostile. So yeah, definitely an important case to come to grips with. Meanwhile, Chris Gallaudet is talking about some of his recent problems, and I love Chris. And I'm so glad that he's doing better. And but I wanted to give let's just hear what he has to say.
Okay, so I did have what's called acute psychosis, basically lack of sleep, introduced with crazy synchronicities that I saw in my own life. I can only say, yeah, your brain actually goes off the rails sometimes. I have PTSD from my career in the Air Force. I hadn't dealt with it. And I think that all just spiraled together, kind of cycled together to put me, off kilter, actually get my brain off kilter to where I just went, off the rails. I found a theory I thought was correct. I still think many parts of the theory are correct, that light makes up matter. Matter is actually made of light. I think we will find that out through artificial intelligence. But I found that theory, and combined with all these other things going on in my life, combined with PTSD, just kind of, put me off the rails. And what I found many Americans actually deal with, 57 million Americans are dealing with mental health issues. My body feels fine. It feels great. My body feels better than I can remember. But your mind actually is a very important part of your body. And I think for me, I just had an episode in dealing with past issues, dealing with PTSD. I'm working through that now. And I just want to say thank you so much to the community, all the amazing community members. And that comes from my wife as well. She wanted to say thank you as well to all the amazing support that the community gave.
Okay, yeah, I'm so glad that he's doing better. And, mental health issues are real. I have a close personal loved one that has gone through some real serious mental health issues in the last couple of years. And, doing a lot better now. But, it's been brought home to me, just how important this is. And I know there's so many others that are struggling with these issues. So, don't be afraid to ask for help and do what you need to do and, protect your mental health. So, yeah, Godspeed, Chris. I'm so glad you're back. Okay, all right, moving on. This was kind of a funny one. All right, so will the X-Files continue? Will there be a reboot or some sort of continuation of the X-Files? I don't know. I haven't been super impressed by their latest outings. So, only if they're going to pick up where the original series left off. The original series left off on a huge cliffhanger. And then it never really addressed that, except in a really half-hearted, backhanded fashion that didn't do justice to the original storyline. But Gillian Anderson says she would be up for returning as Scully in an X-Files reboot, to which Gary Nolan replied. He says, okay. I want a cameo as a hybrid. I don't know. Would it be a cameo, Gary? I mean, would it be acting? Would it be acting, Gary? I love you, Gary. But he is an experiencer, and they do tweak people over, or they tweak humans over generations. And he did have, beings in his bedroom as a child. So he is likely an experiencer, and as possibly he is the result of a multi-generation experiment. So so he may not be acting as a hybrid. And I say that with love. Meanwhile, so this is, I've always thought this was a really cool thing, from Ecuador and Mesopotamia, distance, not 8 miles, 8,000 miles. If this was legit, this would be a great example of, some sort of cultural exchange across the world, right? It shows some sort of cultural continuation or something, from disparate peoples. However, this may be bunk. Incredible History says the Ecuador peace is fake. And it was apparently in Father Crespi's possession. A priest, I guess. And Incredible History says, I don't even think the Ecuador Sumerian Peace was a part of Father Crespi's collection. Okay, all right. Clarification. I've done a deep dive and have never been able to verify that this was even his. I think it's likely even more modern. So, I don't want to be promoting disinformation, and I have before commented on this extraordinary similarity between those two artworks. But if indeed the Ecuador piece is a fake, that is important information to know. And so if you guys have any clarification on what that image is and who created it, if it does look more modern now that I'm looking at it. So it totally could be a fake design to, as for fun and I guess to spread disinformation. And it's important to combat disinformation even if it's spreading a fun idea. All right, moving on. Speaking of fun ideas, this was really interesting. I had never heard about this before. And, please fact check me on this if any of this part of this is wrong, or Jason on this. But I think this is just really neat and mysterious. Reading from Jason Wild, why is this still under military control? Something buried? The unfinished pyramid of Zawyet Al-Aryan, documented in the mid-19th century as Pyramid 13 and further explored in the early 20th century, reveals an architectural marvel of massive scale, leaving an indelible mark on the field of Egyptology. Its deep shaft and significant subterranean structure emphasizes its archaeological importance. However, the outbreak of World War I, among other factors, ceased further explorations, casting the pyramid into shadows of oblivion. And that's what we're talking about here. You can see the size and scale of this massive structure. Since 1964, the Pyramid of Baka, ensconced within a military restricted zone, has been off limits for an excavation, with the adjacent necropolis now under the shadow of military installations. This military dominion over a site of profound historical significance beckons a multitude of questions, enveloping the pyramids in layers of mystery. The fusion of an ancient monument with contemporary military oversight not only restricts academic access, but also fuels speculation regarding the rationale behind such a stringent measure. So what is up with that? Is the military in possession of this? Are they restricting access to this site? And why? Is there some secret that they don't want us to know buried in these ancient ruins? What is going on there, guys? And again, feel free to fact check this and, verify if this story is true or not. But I thought that was a fascinating idea and definitely worth exploring. So there you go. Possible ancient ruins under modern military control. All right. Now, getting back to ufology, Lue Elizondo is replying to this tweet from Chris Mellon. So let's see what Chris Mellon is saying. And he is replying to Dean Johnson. Yes. So what is Dean Johnson saying? He's got this tweet up here. On April 9th, a hearing before Senate Armed Services Committee, Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Charles Brown was questioned on incursions on military installations. Mark Kelly says, we see consistent incursions around sensitive government facilities. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Chris Mellon says it is very encouraging to see at least one member of Congress aware of and seeking answers to the rather alarming pattern of incursions over restricted military airspace in the U.S. I hear that the intrusions at Langley, which they are discussing, were so sustained and disruptive that an entire fighter wing had to be relocated to another base. If the Air Force can't defend its own bases, how can it defend the rest of the nation? What is not evident in this exchange is how many other bases and warships have been suffering from similar incidents. Note the links in my earlier tweets to a series of superb articles in the war zone, to which Lue Elizondo says, absolutely spot on, Chris and Dean Johnson. As we have been saying for the past 7 years, nice to see they admit it. Now let's see what they are planning to do about it. As for Arrow's former leadership, we know they were completely ill-prepared to tackle this. Maybe we should let the people decide instead of government bureaucrats. Talking about the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. But I disagree, Lou. I completely disagree. I don't think the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick was ill-prepared to deal with this at all. I think he was dealing with it exactly as he was told to deal with it. But your mileage may vary, guys. Let me know what you think. But I thought that was a really great exchange with Lou, Chris, and Dean Johnson over these continued UFO incursions into military airspace. Very interesting. Okay, now this is a really interesting UFO that has been making the rounds lately, getting a lot of steam. A rare, clear VHS tape recording of a UFO in 2008 in Houston, the city where I was born.
2008. I normally come over from upstairs, and I focus.
Okay, let's get to the UFO.
Myself, and so what I did, I brought the camera real quick because I had used it on Easter Sunday with my family, and I let it sit right there for a while. So what I did, I brought the camera, and the dog Chuito here, he was here, as well as the other dog, and when I noticed the object, I grabbed my camera immediately, and I started to videotape from that angle. But he was growling. He was like, and I said, and I just patted him, but I couldn't talk. I didn't know what to say. I was just speechless, like they say. So what came to my mind, videotape, keep the camera going. So I'm out here, and I'm videotaping, and I'm trying to hold on to the dog. And when I noticed the object moved, either my hand shaked a little bit, and I felt some sensation, something, but I was just too shocked. I didn't know what was going on. It looked something like round, and it had something at the bottom that kind of shined, but I couldn't tell. So I got my camera, the top part.
Okay, yeah, very interesting UFO sighting. It looks very credible. Looks like it's probably, possibly legit. I mean, CGI did exist back then, but, I doubt this guy, on VHS was inserting CGI into it. But, you special effects expert, let me know what you guys think. But I think this is a very credible sighting of a UFO in clear daylight. So, yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. Meanwhile, check this out. SCU's Robert Powell regarding the 2004 USS Nimitz Tic Tac U.A.P. There's no way that was our technology. Well, I don't think so. A lot of people these days are trying to say it's Lockheed Martin, but I don't think that.
Yeah, there's no way that was our technology, and here's why. Our jets will only stand maybe 10 G-forces, and that's angular. Right, that's angular acceleration is they're turning. What this object demonstrated was over 200 g-forces of linear acceleration. That means we're not even counting the angles. That's just straight, direct acceleration. Our best jets that we have can maybe accelerate 2 g-forces in linear. Because when you hear a jet, he's got on his G-suit and he's going 8 Gs, that's because he's turning.
Okay, I just had to break in here. I'm not going to play the whole clip because I just have to say that, yes, these objects were performing in ways that we don't understand and that we couldn't duplicate through our mundane technology. However, if there are secret black government projects that have exotic technology, alien technology, reverse engineer technology, they might be capable of that. So I don't think that these objects performing fantastic maneuvers that we couldn't duplicate with our understanding of physics in the mainstream, I don't think that invalidates the idea that it could be man-made. So, but it is good to keep in mind that these objects were performing in fantastic ways that we could not duplicate or survive. So yeah, no, a good point from Robert Powell. But I do think that it's the Nimitz Tic Tacs are likely alien for reasons that I've talked about before. 100 objects dogging the war fleet for a week, coming and going from the water. The whole thing doesn't make a lot of sense if it's secret technology, disrupting training exercises. It's just a weird play for the black world, right? Okay, yeah, let's watch something fun. This is really cool. I think this is a good video to end on. This is from John Bell. This is really cool. He is seeing an orb that is interacting with him, and he thinks it may be trying to communicate. So let's watch.
Yes, maybe it is trying to communicate. Never seen anything like this before.
And what you will see, and apparently the camera is relatively steady, is that this orb is just buzzing around just all over. Look how it's moving, guys. Look how that orb is just bugging all over the place. That's wild. He thinks it may be trying to communicate. He joked, does anybody know alien sign language or orb sign language? Because look at how that's moving. Yeah, is that trying to communicate? Is it doing some sort of sign language? Anybody know what it's trying to do or say? It looks kind of playful, right? He's shown before a different orb, Tinkerbell, that shows up all the time, and it seems very playful. And this one also seems like that, but definitely it seems like it's just bugging all over the place. I love it. I think that's a really cool sighting. Yeah, you should go check out John's channel. He has so many great UFO videos on Florida Real UFO, and I'll link to that below. But let me know what you think about this really cool sighting and everything else covered today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I'd sure appreciate it. Smash the like button and the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in an even bigger way, you can grab a t-shirt in the merch store below or become a channel member because channel members are rock stars and I really appreciate you guys' support. Also, channel members frequently get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.